Ravenclaw Reads. I'm Courtney and today you're joining me for the start of another weekly reading vlog. If you're new here, welcome. Thanks for checking out my channel. Check out the other videos on here to see if this is a place you'd like to be. I do bookish things, e-read reviews, unboxings, weekly vlogs, TBRs, all the things you would expect from a bookish channel. If you're returning, thanks so much for coming back. Don't forget to hit subscribe and hit the post notifications, and then check it out to see if you want to be a member. You get a couple extra perks. We're still trying to figure it out. I appreciate the members I have right now, but this month we are doing our very first book club and we are reading Passion Project. So we are going to read this, and then in some forum we're going to talk about it. So super excited about that. Okay, so last week I did not do a weekly vlog or a wrap up because it was the end of the month, and usually the end of the month is when I like to do my TBR and my wrap up, and so I was like, I do not need to film. However, I was reading. I started off May with a bang. I'm so excited. If you've been here, you know that I had a really tough go of it in March. I had a hard time finding books that I really liked. And it was just hard to keep momentum going. And then in April, it was a better month. I read 12 books. And there's lots of new books that came out, and in May I'm starting off with a bang, so we are super excited. So it is middle grade May for those that celebrate. For me, what that means is reading lots of middle grade books, but I'm also reading other books at the same time. So yeah, let me tell you what I've read so far. So last week I finished up a few books. I think I talked about let's see, did I finish Fearless last week? Because last week was April into May. I think I finished Fearless on the 27th. I ended up giving that 4 stars. I really liked it. I'm part of the whole Lauren Roberts group. I enjoy it. It's my dog. I enjoy it and really enjoyed the series in itself. So I finished that one, and then I picked up Wild and Wrangled by Lila Sage. This is part of the Blue Rebel Ranch series. It is this really cute cowboy romance series. I'm not a cowboy romance reader. However, I picked up this series and have just absolutely loved it. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. This book follows Cam and Dusty, and I guess we've all sort of been waiting for their story. But Cam and Dusty dated when they were in high school, and Cam is freshly left at the altar and comes back to the hometown, and she ends up living sort of on the same property that Dusty does, and things start going from there. So I really enjoyed it. He was a sad boy. I don't think I've showed Mocha in a while. This is my baby Mocha. He is truly my heart. I have 2 dogs, but this one is my little special baby, aren't you? Yes, you are. So, okay, so where was I? So I was reading Wild and Wrangled, and yeah, 4 stars. I did like it. Again, it's not a normal series that I would read, but I was here for it all the same. Okay, then after that, I read The Bright Years by Sarah Damoff. Now, I had wanted to read that for a while. I kept seeing it. I saw it on Book of the Month Club, which I have canceled Book of the Month Club for now because I am just getting my books digitally. I did get I want to say 4 books last time. I just don't have any place to put them. I should show you my bookshelf. It's just so full. So I got this on Kindle, and this was such a good book. I'm giving this a 5 star. If you guys know, I'm deep in my lit fic journey. I love literary fiction books, and this fell right into the type of things that I like. So this book follows, it's actually from the perspective, hang on, let me get the names. If you know, I also never know the names. Okay, this follows Ryan and Lillian, and it's broken into 3 parts, from Lillian's point of view, Lillian and Ryan's child's point of view, and then Ryan's point of view. And there's a reason for that, but I don't want to tell you because it is a spoiler. But basically, we start with hearing Ryan's backstory. He is the child of an abusive alcoholic father. And one night, the father gets physical with the mom, and the mom takes him to leave the father and we kind of start the story off there. We kind of jump fast forward where he meets Lillian, and they start dating, and eventually they get married. No, they don't get married. They start dating, and then Lillian gets pregnant, and things kind of go downhill from there. And we follow over at least 20 years of what happens in their relationship, and they end up having a child. So what happens with that? And it was just a really good book. It was really well written. It's pretty short for a lit fic. It's like 280 some pages. But each page is pretty packed with information, and it was just good. I loved that. So highly suggest that. And then I wasn't done. I told y'all I was reading. Okay, and then after that, I read, let me pull it up. Okay, then after that, I read The Mystery of Locked Rooms by Lindsay Curry. This is my first toe dip into middle grade May. I picked this up from the bookstore, and I love Lindsay Curry. She usually writes scary stories, and so I was excited to see this one. This one was actually more of a mystery. It kind of reminds me of like, what is that, Jennifer Lynn Barnes books, and it was good. I think I gave it I don't think I gave it that high. I think I gave it a 2. It was the story of Sarah and her friends. They are escape room fanatics, and they do them all the time. And Sarah's family is going to lose money, and so they tell her about this fun house that was built by these triplets in their town, and there's supposedly treasure there. And so the 3 friends go in and try to find the treasure, and it just didn't grab me. It wasn't that interesting, and I think I had a bias on Lindsay Curry and the type of books that she writes, because this was not it. I did not like this. So currently I am reading Passion Project. I'm about 25% into it. I'm really loving it. It's a little sad. It's not like a straight romance. And then I kind of paused Great Big Beautiful by Emily Henry, because it didn't really strike me as like, gotta tear this down quick. So I don't know if I'm going to come back to that right now or not. But for right now, I'm reading Passion Project and enjoying it. And yeah, and that is Monday. So we will check back on Tuesday. Hey guys, happy Tuesday. Popping on to give you an update. So I just literally moments ago wrapped up Passion Project. This is by London Sperry. This is our book club pick for our members, but it's been on the list anyway, and so excited to get this finished. I am in between thoughts on this. I did initially put it as a 4, but my Goodreads, like I'll type in probably like a 3.5 or something like that. So this book follows Bennett and Henry. Bennett is grieving from the passing of her ex-boyfriend, and she meets Henry through a dating app, and he kind of enters her life to show her around New York, is where they live. She's recently moved there, and trying to like get her out of her shell. She's kind of in a depression shell. And so that's like the premise of the book, kind of like Promise Me Sunshine a little bit, but that is the premise of the book. I did not realize this was going to be a sad-ish book. It didn't like make me cry or anything like that, but I didn't realize there's so many dark parts in the story. So if you're going in thinking it's a straight romance, it's not really. There are quite a few elements that are like, they kind of not drag on, but they're definitely deep in grief. This book is about getting over grief and navigating that. And so finished that. I did stop by Barnes today. My intent for going to Barnes was to pick up the new Sweet Valley Twins graphic novel. First of all, you guys know I like Sweet Valley. I haven't read it in a few years. I've been on my babysitter's grind, but I like Sweet Valley High, and was reading most of those. I think I got to like book 100 or something, but the Sweet Valley Twins came out before Sweet Valley High, and they do the graphic novels. So me and my youngest Reagan are going through them. Today was the drop for book 6, which is The New Girl. And you know, it's always grimy because Jessica's does the most. But I did not realize that today was pub day for Carly Fortune's One Golden Summer. And so I don't know how I missed this. There are so many books that are coming out that I didn't even think about it. And I think in my clip before this, I just said something about not buying physical books, and here I am. But I think I've bought all of Carly Fortune's physical books, and so that's why I have it. This is the Barnes exclusive edition, so you have like this little artwork here, and there's some in the back. Okay, and this says, good things happen at the lake. That's what Alice's grandmother says, and it's true. Alice spent just one summer there at a cottage with Nan when she was 17. It's where she took that photo, the one of 3 grinning teenagers in a yellow speedboat, the image that changed her life. Now Alice lives behind a lens. As a photographer, she's most comfortable on the sidelines, letting other people shine. Lately, though, she's been itching for something more, and when Nan falls and breaks her hip, Alice comes up with a plan for them both. Another summer in that magical place, Barry's Bay. But as soon as they settle in, their peace is disrupted by the roar of a familiar yellow boat and the man driving it. Charlie Florrick was 19 when Alice took his photo from afar. Now he's all grown up, a shameless flirt who manages to make Nan laugh and Alice long to be 17 again, when life was simpler, when taking pictures was just for fun. Sun-slanted days and warm nights out on the lake with Charlie are a balm for Alice's soul, but when she looks up and sees his piercing green gaze directly on her, she begins to worry for her heart. Because Alice sees people, that's why she's so good at what she does, but she's never met someone who looks and sees her right back. So I'm excited to read this. Now, I know a lot of people didn't like Carly Fortune's last book, Meet Me at the Lake. I liked all of her books, and so I don't have any issue with them. I think they're really good. So excited to get into this. So I'm gonna try to do a few books at once. So read some of this. I also want to read Finally Heard, and that is another one of my middle grade May books. And then The Tenant by Frida McFadden just came out today. She always has her books on Kindle Unlimited, so like I saw it yesterday and did not get it because it's like $4.99. Or obviously you just download it. And so I want to read that. Books by Frida McFadden go by pretty quickly for me, so I think that'll be a good read and something to do in the dark, because One Golden Summer and the Kelly Yang book, Finally Heard, are both physical copies. And so I think that's a good breakdown. I did slightly start Broken Country and just stopped because I can tell it's going to be a lit fic that I need some time with. And so yeah, that's my plan. We'll see what happens when I log on tomorrow. Okay, bye guys. Hey guys, happy Thursday. Hopping on to give you an update. I did not update yesterday because there's really nothing to update. This has been a crazy week at work. I have this manager training that happens like for the first half of every day for the next 2 or 3 weeks. Plus I'm on a couple of planning committees that have been super busy and just like nonstop. So my reading has been not as much as I want it to be, but I'm really gonna dig in because I have so many things that I'm in the middle of. So as I talked about on Tuesday, I'm reading One Golden Summer. I really need this on my Kindle, but I'm just not gonna buy another copy. I'm probably gonna buy another copy. I'm on page 94, and basically we are following Alice. Alice is a photographer. She's just been dumped by her long-term boyfriend, and her grandma has an accident with her hip, and they both just need to get away. So they go to a summer cabin they used to go to when Alice was in her teens, and she's kind of reminiscing there. She runs into Charlie, who lives, well, he's staying at the person who owns the home that Alice and Nan are staying in. He is living in that guy's house for the summer, and come to find out that Alice, when she was a teen, is a budding photographer that took a picture of Charlie and had been thinking about him and who he could be all these years. So they just started kind of meeting, and it's kind of a slow build up. It's definitely giving Every Summer After vibes. Charlie, I think, is charming already. But nothing else is really standing out yet, and so I am excited to dig in more into this. Then I picked up The Tenant by Frida McFadden. That came out on Tuesday. It's on Kindle Unlimited, and I've been reading it before bed, which is always tricky because either you remember or you don't. I do know that it's a guy and his fiance who are living in a home. And I want to say they're in New York because it's expensive, and he randomly gets fired from his job in kind of an unrealistic way. Like the boss blames him for something that he didn't do but doesn't ask or offer him an opportunity to really speak up for himself, which is crazy. So now they're having a hard time paying the bills. I think he has money for enough, like 1 more month living off of his savings. And so the girlfriend or fiance decides to, or suggests that they get somebody to rent out a room. And so hence the tenant, but I haven't gotten to the tenant yet. Then I started Finally Heard by Kelly Yang. I talked about this on Tuesday as a middle grade May book. I'm only on chapter 2. This book picks up where Finally Seen left off. And so we have the same family. This is literally 1 chapter in. So they're at the end of the last book, they had started like a bath bomb business, and that's still going. But it's starting to lose business, and so they're thinking about working with a brand manager, but they don't have money to pay for that. And that was all chapter 1. So I did just borrow this from the library so I can have it on my Kindle as well. And my next Babysitters Club book came in on the Kindle from Libby seconds before I started filming. I think that's Jessie and the Troublemaker. So that's like 4 books I need to be reading right now. I think, so while I'm not working, I've been reading, and so you can see how little time I've had that. And when I get to bed to read, I've been so exhausted. It's like if you have kids, and maybe if you don't have kids, that you've been around kids at the end of the school year, even as not an educator in a school anymore, it's exhausting. Like the wake up in the morning to get people ready, the homework, the tests, like we're very involved parents. We love it. We love to be involved. We're not helicopter parents, but we definitely are hands-on. We know when their tests are. We're reviewing. We're talking, all the things. It is exhausting by the end of the year. And this week, my youngest had like 3 or 4 tests, which is a lot for 6th grade. I wish they would space them out better. But all that to say, by the time my head hits the pillow, I'm exhausted. So even when I have my Kindle on, I'm like zonked out. So my goal is to read this weekend. I need to film a video that I'm going to put out tomorrow, but I haven't filmed it yet, so I'm going to film it after work and then quickly edit it and put it up. And then this will come out on Sunday. So that's kind of my vibe. I'm hoping that I can just like start breezing through these books. I think if I put One Golden Summer on my Kindle, that'll help a lot. And then all my books will be on the Kindle. So again, why did I buy physical books? Because it's funsies. But anyway, that is the update for Thursday. I'll be back tomorrow with hopefully a whole bunch read. Hey guys, happy Sunday. It has happened again. I did not come back on to update my reading. However, I have good reason because I was reading my butt off. And so let me catch you up on what I have finished. This has been a great reading week for me. I got most of the books done that I wanted. I also have like a little mini book haul because for Mother's Day, that's what I love to do, is just go look at books. And I picked a few books that I haven't even really heard about, and that was exciting. A couple lit fics, a couple of romance, a couple of something else, and so happy to show you those. But let me tell you what I finished. So last time we spoke, I had finished Passion Project, I believe. And I think I finished One Golden Summer. Let me see what date I finished it on. That was the 8th. Yeah. So you already heard about that. Hey guys, editing, Courtney hopping on. I did not talk about One Golden Summer, but just inserting really quick. This book was mid. It was 3 stars for me. Really disappointed because I've loved all of Carly Fortune's books. However, this one just didn't seem to hit for me, so much so that it is not memorable. I mean, we basically kind of have the same plot as Every Summer After. We've got the main guy who is neighbors with Alice and her grandma, and they start getting close as he is kind of helping her with this bucket list. She wants to do this bucket list because she feels like she hasn't lived like her biggest life, and the grandma is sort of repairing and working through some grief with a neighbor that used to live out there. So to me, it was kind of like a jumbled double plot for no reason, and I wasn't impressed. So 3 stars. So then I was reading The Tenant by Freida McFadden. And this is her newest book It literally came out last Tuesday. And I'm really bummed. I ended up giving this a 3-star. Now, I'm not a huge, like, I don't know if I can say this anymore. I was gonna say I'm not a huge Freida McFadden fan, but I've read like so many of her books. I think her books are the perfect book to get you out of a slump. They are, I call them like popcorn thrillers because they like start off right away and they're pretty good. But this one just didn't hit. It was just too weird. So I gave it 3 stars. It felt like this book, as I was telling my family about it, like it was definitely a book under pressure. Like she needed to get this book out because not all the pieces came together. But basically we're following Blake, and he is like giving finance bro vibes, just very much in the scene, a VP of a company, and very quickly life starts going down for him. So he ends up getting fired. He's framed sort of for taking money, and then his boss like refuses to hear him out, which is very interesting. And then he owns a brownstone, but is having a hard time making the mortgage. So his fiance, Kira, suggests that they sell a room, their spare room, out to a tenant, just to make up the difference on the mortgage. And so he's a little hesitant, but they meet a few people. Nothing really works until Whitney comes in. And Whitney is this really attractive woman who's going to stay in the room. Kira likes her off the bat, and Blake is weary, mostly because he kind of is attracted to her, but he decides to give it a chance. And so he starts having weird things happen around the house. There's weird smells, odd things coming up. His phone goes missing. Just like weird things start happening. And so he begins to blame it on Whitney. And Kira is not listening to him or believing him. In fact, she thinks maybe he's having an affair with Whitney, which couldn't be further from the truth. And then it started to spiral. So it was good, and then it wasn't. Like, it just started going downhill as we tried to uncover why all these things were happening. Obviously, it's a thriller, so I don't want to spoil it, but it just wasn't my favorite ending. There was parts that just didn't make sense. It didn't add up, and so that's why I was like, I don't know, like maybe I read it too fast, maybe something, it just didn't add up for me. So I gave that 3 stars, which usually I give Freida McFadden books like 4 or 5 stars. And then I hopped on and read Jessie and the Troublemaker. This is book number 82 in the Babysitters Club series. If you are new here, I'm rereading the Babysitters Club books from the beginning. I started about 2 years ago, and I'm on book 82. I just usually pop them in whenever I can, and that's about it. And so got that done. I also borrowed that from Libby, and that was great. And I'm excited for book 83. This is when all the drama with Stacy happens. We got a little taste of it in this book, with Stacy kind of feeling a bit removed from the group. This book follows Danielle. We met her in a previous book, and she is in remission from leukemia, and her parents need her to have some routine babysitting done. And so initially Jessie's the first one to go, and Jessie was a huge connecting point for Danielle when Danielle appeared in the series, and so it was natural for Jessie to go over and babysit. And then as the book evolves, it seems as though Danielle is getting the run of the house. She's able to do anything because she's in remission, and her parents feel like, you know, she's alive and nothing else matters. And so each of the babysitters are trying to like figure out how to approach the fact that yes, she is in remission. That was a really hard time for her, and there still need to be boundaries. And so that was the story. I ended up giving that 4 stars, which is really good for me because I usually don't rate the Jessie books that high. I think as she evolves as a character and the stories get a little bit better, I think that has helped quite a bit. So this week I read Passion Project, One Golden Summer, The Tenant, Jessie and the Troublemaker. The only book I didn't get to is Finally Heard by Kelly Yang. I'm sort of off and on reading it. It honestly hasn't like caught me yet, and I think maybe because I'm only 2 chapters in, but I'm gonna keep that as my Kindle read because I have some physical books that I picked up yesterday at Barnes that I'll show you in just a second, and so hopefully that will make it go by a little bit for me. Okay, so as I mentioned, I did pick up some books at Barnes yesterday. Super excited to walk around the big Barnes, as I call it. It's one that's a little bit further from me, but I usually go there for my birthday or like special occasions because it's far. But excited to walk around. We walked around with no intention. I didn't have anything on my mind of what I wanted to get. Obviously, I'm in the middle of a good reading jag, and so I wasn't needing, you know, something specific, just kind of looking around. And I found some really great books that I felt like I had not heard of before, and that excited me. So the first book that I have that I'm going to start reading today is Kristin Hannah's The Things We Do for Love. This was actually on a front table at the checkout, so they got me. They had a whole Kristin Hannah